Welcome back. This is Getting to Know You, an Owners Club exclusive podcast. Right now, click subscribe, give us a like. Our guest today is Henry Demers. Hi, Henry.
Hello, how are you?
Doing fantastic.
Good.
So tell us who you are. Who is Henry Demers?
Well, Henry is actually French Canadian. My parents moved from Canada to get away from literally from the cold and the snow, but also from the racism. And there's a lot of, since my family was French Canadian, we go back hundreds of years in Montreal. Being in the Royal Canadian Air Force, there was a lot of, that's the English side of Canada. And so there was a lot of friction there, and he wanted to get away from there, and he wanted to get us away from that as well. So we had an aunt living in Dallas, and I was too small to know the journey, but I understand it probably my guess is probably 2 weeks to get here, because back then it was a very slow, very slow journey. But
Wait a second. Are we talking horse and wagon here?
well, it might as well have been. I mean, it was probably now. Without giving up my age, this is late 50s. Think about the cars. Yeah, I'm sure there was probably some wagon train somewhere at that time. So anyway, so we landed here in Dallas. I grew up here in Dallas, went to school here in Dallas, found a job here in Dallas. It was with JCPenney, 30 years with JCPenney. And I've been in the construction industry pretty much since out of high school, and I went to college at night because I had a family, and it was just easier for me to go to school at night. It took me forever, but I finally got through it. But left JCPenney. Actually, they offered me a package, and after 30 years, I said, absolutely, I'm out of here. It really wasn't much of it didn't take much longer to think about it. So landed in the real estate business, and started out as an agent, and didn't really particularly care for that because there was a lot of restrictions with the license, and of course you're having to pay. It seems like everybody was in your pocket, so kind of morphed into more of the investor side, and that's kind of where my wife and I are at right now. Now, Leanna Demers, she's also in the Owners Club. She's sub 2 like I am, Owners Club. She's also Gator, but she has a W-2. So that kind of restricts her from a lot of the activity during the day, right? Because she has a W-2, obviously. I'm full-time. And so we've purchased several properties, and we're learning a lot at the moment. We really are. We're enjoying the real estate business, and we're focused on real estate going forward.
So how long ago was that transition between JCPenney and becoming an agent?
Probably about 2 years. I've been in real estate, associated with real estate, probably about 5 years now. And so commercial, residential, I actually stepped into residential. And, I didn't like residential. I didn't want to deal with Johnny's room. I really didn't. There's just too emotional. There's a lot of emotion when you're selling your home or something like that. And it was just not for me. And I think women do very well as an agent. That's where they're emotional. They tie with people. I'm kind of, black and white sometimes, and that doesn't come across well. So commercial was much better, but again, I was in the just wrong group, wrong company. So that's why I got out of that, went into just investing.
And as an agent, what was the spark that led you to sub 2?
My wife, actually, Leanna, she joined sub 2. She was telling me all about pace and how blah, blah, blah. And I really need to really, do more in that group. And, I really was not interested. I really wasn't. And finally, actually, it was probably in Squat Up in Dallas. Here in Dallas, we had to go. So that's where I got the fever, you want to call it. Drank the Kool-Aid, whatever the case. But
We could say that you got inspired.
let's just say that got inspired, and it's been a journey, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think this group, compared to other groups that we've belonged to, particularly in this area, um, they're head and antlers over what I have found. I mean, without naming these groups that we belong to, most of them were, you asked for help, and their angle was, well, what is it in for me? And so that was never a very it was a very it didn't feel good. It didn't feel comfortable. So this giving attitude in the owners club has just been, it's a breath of fresh air. It really is. And so, and I do tell people about it, and it's been good. So, and it's been challenging.
What is your current business model?
Well, good question. We've done sober living. We have property. We have a sober living property. I have a co-living pad split property. I have a long-term property, and I have an Airbnb. So I've gotten a flavor of lot of different scenarios and taste of what works and doesn't work. The Airbnb is in a real good location. It's on East Coast. It's in Hilton Head Island, and it's done well. It really has. And so I don't see us leaving that. But that was kind of an interesting. We bought that place as a vacation home, and then we ended up just turning it into an Airbnb, and that was 4 years ago. So it's done well, and it's cash flowing, and we'll leave that at the moment. And then of course the long term property. I mean, golly, that's just been real easy. I've had a good tenant in there. We bought that property as a sub two, so I got a little flavor of that contract, and interesting how that works. My property in San Antonio is actually a seller finance, so that's been interesting. But the problem we've had there is the partnerships, and that's probably been the hardest thing we've ever had to deal with, is the partners. And we first bought this property in San Antonio. It was going to be a sober living, but there was five of us. Two of them, I mean, they bailed almost immediately. Like, okay, what is going on? First month, they bailed, and they wanted out of the agreement, everything else. So now there's three of us, and two of the partners, now there's three of us. Two of them in San Antonio, they don't get along. They just don't get along. I'd get phone calls on Sunday, and he would be telling me, going on and about, she is doing this, she's that, she's this, she's this. And so I literally, I did a lot of praying during that period of time. And I'm literally praying about, what am I going to do about these two? They don't get along. Well, finally, he came to me. He said, Henry, I'm out of here. I can't get along with her. I don't want any of this. I'm gone. Okay. Decision made. So since then, the house has really stabilized. She has done a fantastic job. I couldn't be any happier than where the property is going to at the moment. So, and it's full. We're making strides with that, because that is where my heart is helping people out of recovery, and trying to solve their clarity. People coming out of these homes, they don't have a whole lot of clarity. They don't know where they're going to eat, where they're going to sleep. Some don't even have driver's licenses. So there's a lot of clarity that these people need, and I think it's a great model. It really is, and that's my focus going forward. It is going to be that. My wife Leanna, she wants to do the golden age aspect, but those are probably going to be individual homes, is what we're thinking. My idea at the beginning of the year was 200 homes. That was our Mount Everest, and serving 1,500 people. Well, looking at it in retrospect, 200 homes. I mean, that is a big portfolio. That's a lot of roofs. That's a lot of air conditioning and water heaters, and it would just require a big staff to maintain. So I met an operator in Fort Worth that bought a assisted living property. She bought it. Actually, she bought it as a seller finance deal. Put $50,000 down on it. It has, I think, 50 rooms, and so she has at last count. There's about 90 people in there. She had 40 people on the waiting list trying to get into this home. So the idea of having, I mean, it's a retirement community. I mean, it has wings, and she has one wing for women, one for men, and I think this is where I'm heading, and this is where I'm going next year. I have an operator in San Antonio that wants a facility like this in San Antonio, and that's where I'm going next year. October of next year is when he wants to move in. So that's going to be my big push next year for sure, is finding a home. And from an operating standpoint, and I'll tell you, it's mastermind recovery. Wonderful people. I love this group. They have a group in San Antonio, and now they're coming into Dallas. Their Dallas location is not quite yet ready for this big operation, but the one in San Antonio is. I'm really excited about that.
It sounds great. It's definitely struck a chord in your heart and has become your purpose. And that's really a blessing, right? To wake up every day with a purpose.
It really is. I mean, I journal a lot, and try not to get emotional about this, but I journal a lot, and I ask, what should I do? So um, it's been a good feeling. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can feel it.
I love it. Yeah. So, but currently, right now, Leanna is going to be. She's going to be retiring, not retiring. She's going to give up her W-2. She gave it up last year, and somebody talked her into coming back and trying to, they want her to help turn this company around, and they threw a bunch of money at her, and so it was really hard to give up that vine, but it's come to an end. By probably January, February, I suspect that vine is going to be, she's going to let go of it. So we're trying to find active income to kind of replace that. Of course, the RV parks have been on everybody's minds. I have a son that's in San Diego that's looking, we're trying to find a business maybe down there for him to operate. His name is Matthew Demers, so people know. I hope to keep it as in the family and try to, maybe even get a partner down there and try to
Just
find
to
a business.
clarify, if I could, you said San Diego as in California, or is there
Yeah,
a San Diego in Texas?
California. San Diego, California. He and his wife landed there. They love the place. They were raised here in Dallas, but it's too hot. They just love California. So, whatever. They want us to move there, but it would be literally a darn near 70% difference between Texas and California. And that's that's tough to bite into. So
That's a hard sell for sure.
right.
I am from Southern California, so I know. It
So
is what you
that
feel.
is our big focus right now, is trying to find a company that we could purchase. I'm looking right now. I have a broker that's giving me quite a few properties. My son Matthew is helping me doing the underwriting and helping me with the language. He's got a JD, so he's very familiar with contracts. He's also finance. He's also an economic major. So
What is a JD?
a lawyer has to get a JD degree. There's a name for it. Don't know it at the moment. It's just called JD. But it is essentially his degree, and he decided not to be an attorney. But he still has the degree. He's a very smart kid.
So JD must stand for judicial
Yes, I'm sure
doctorate.
there's probably somebody's going to tell you what it means. I think it's Latin. I'm pretty sure it's Latin.
We'll just call it a judicial doctorate for now.
There you go. Yeah. But it is hard to get. I'm very proud of him. I also have another son, Stephen, in Chicago. He doesn't want anything to do with real estate. He's got a job. He's got a job. He's happy. At his age, I was the same way. I have a house. I'm happy. I can't get him to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm not sure if you've ever read that book, but it's an eye opener. And of course, I just read Cody Sanchez. That's a good book. I'm also reading this one right now. I'll plug this one too. Oh my God, this has been a good book too. The one page planner, the one page marketing plan. Yes, very good book. I'm just finishing up that. Reading was one thing. 15 minutes a day, but it's amazing. It turns in maybe 20 minutes a day. I've enjoyed it. I really have. So, and I'm
Is
getting
that
through
a
some
habit?
books.
Is that a habit that you feel you'll carry on?
Absolutely. Frankly, I think most of these nine will be carried on. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I do a sheet. It was a weekly accomplishments, and it's blocked every day, right? And so journal, email, read, gratitude deals, Discord, post. Okay, that was what I was doing before the 990 challenge. It really wasn't that difficult for the transition to add a couple more steps in there. And probably the hardest part right now is finding new people to talk to every day. I've gone into Discord. Of course, the WhatsApp, that's been a real good place to go find people that are looking for people to talk to every day. Just connect and talk about what you're doing, what I'm doing, and see where the two intersect.
It sounds like you've gotten a lot of value out of that.
I think so. I mean, my wife and I, we've been married 40 years, and we go on vacations, and most of the times it's in wine regions, and so we'll go and enjoy the local wines, the local people, and so forth. So it's been a great connection.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, she's my starter wife, as they say. So
Your starter wife.
my
Oh my
starter
gosh,
wife.
I
Yes.
love that. That's awesome. I've literally never heard that.
Oh yeah, she's my starter wife. Yeah, and I think we're gonna make it. I mean, there are times,
Yeah,
but I think we're gonna make it. She's a great partner, and of course now we have something else in common with real estate, and it's just great. It really is.
beautiful. Well,
Yeah, it
let me
is.
ask you this. If someone wanted to bring value to you, what do you
Mhm.
need right now? Is there a problem in your business you need solved? How can they bring value to you?
That's a good question. Even though I can talk, I can communicate, and so forth like this, I'm scared to pull the trigger. I'm scared to pull a trigger on deals. I get to it, and I may even I probably sabotage the deals too, because I get to a point and I get scared, and I just don't want to take that plunge. And I know Pace, Jamil, and holy crap, everybody talks about that. Coach Burt talked about that, but it's a real thing with me, and it's really hard for me to get past that. So I don't know if anybody can help me with that, but
What is your avatar?
I did it a long time ago, and I don't remember what it was. I have no idea.
When you think about your business, do you dream build? Do you does it get really cool and kind of organized in your brain? And then when it comes to actually putting your money down on the table for the transaction, is that where you go cold? Because I'm
Yes.
thinking maybe you're a visionary is the reason.
No.
You're
Not.
not.
I am not a visionary. My wife is the visionary.
Okay, so then you're more the numbers guy, and if it's not really, really fat and meaty and healthy, then the risk is too large if there's not enough meat on the bone for you to do it.
It's meat. It's how we're going to get money, how we're going to do this, how on the operations side.
The hows. There's actually a book out there called
I
If
know.
How To's Were Enough, We'd All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy.
Oh gosh.
Great book by Brian Clemmer.
Oh,
Highly recommend.
you've got to send. I didn't write that down, but you will have to send it to me. But it is. I spent all my life pretty much in the operation side, especially the last probably 20 years in corporate world, in the operation side, contracts, the money aspect, dealing with uh, all the operational side of the business. So my wife is the visionary. Oh my God, she can think of so many things, and it's a beautiful thing. I literally watch her, and she's like, "Oh my God!" But I'm thinking of on the other side of the coin, how are we going to do this? How am I going to put this in? And I think that is what keeps me from taking that step is the how. And I know I read that book. It's not the how, it's the who, I think, or the who, the how, one of the two. And yeah, that's where I struggle. I do. And, if there's anybody out there that could, a little one of some sort or give me some good advice or I don't know.
Have you had your one-on-one with Pace yet?
No,
Have you asked for it?
no, I'm scared. Honestly, I mean, this is between you and I, well, and your group. Holy shit.
Guess what? Pace, as you're watching this, guess who needs to be your next one-on-one?
And I'd say this in a joking, maybe not in a joking way. The power. There was a book or some. It was Coach Burt, that talked about that. The power of influence or something like that. I really wanted to read that book. I don't know how to approach Jamil or a Pace to be in the same room with them. I don't know how to do that, and I think I'd be very. I don't think I'd be very like myself right now. This is me. I'm silly. I just talk with my hands. But I think I'd be very different in a room one on one with him. I really would, and it's a scary thought. It really is.
Yeah.
You're gonna edit all this out, right?
No.
Oh shit.
I'm having thinking about what I can do with this.
See, I'm opening app. That's my. That's our underbelly, if you want to call it. It's our. It's yeah.
It's a great way to put it. That's your vulnerable place.
I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being vulnerable. It's not easy, and I really admire and respect that, that you brought that forth today in the interview.
Well, it's true, and it's hard to get past that. It is. It's hard, and I think that's what kept us. It's what's keeping us from getting further down than where we should be.
Yeah.
And I feel. Yeah. Well, let's stop there, okay? But there's a lot of emotion.
Henry, if they have the answer to your problem and they wanted to get a hold of you, how do you like to be contacted?
I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. My phone number, probably text is probably the easiest.
And I have your blink.
Oh, sure.
I can put your blink in the show notes for everyone. So if you want to reach out to Henry, just look at the show notes below and drop a comment, give us a like. And thank you so much for being here today, Henry. I really appreciate you. You came up to me in Arizona.
Yes.
At our board meeting and started a conversation, and I appreciate that. It was a phone call or a text prior to being in person.
Yes.
That I received, and then we made a point of talking.
Yes, because you've been doing these podcasts, and that's something that I'm kind of inspired to do myself. Maybe trying to get out of my shell a little bit, but yes, and it intrigued me. And you have an honest face, you really do, and so that's why I reached out.
That's why I couldn't get away with anything, huh? Right?
No.
I wear my heart on my sleeve and this honest face. Yeah.
Gosh, so do I.
Yeah, my parents always knew when I was lying.
Oh, so do I. I mean, I'm very emotional. My wife is a little different in that respect, but yes, I am a very emotional kind of guy. I get offended easily, like whatever.
Well, and on that, we're going to end the podcast.
Thank
So
you.
whatever, everybody, just whatever. Thank you, Henry. Really, really love having you on.
Thank you. I feel so blessed. I really am.